All right, I've got at least 3. Now, welcome back to the Infinity Solutions. Mike Nashif here. I'm going to work on this infinity phi, okay? And I just figured out that the number of field interactions for this entire device is 45, okay? And in the center here, I have 15 field interactions that are all wrapped up in this neat little wire, okay? And then on the outside here, you can see that it's 2 wires, and then the third wrap goes all the way around, okay? When I say it's 2 wires, means that when it starts back in on itself, okay, when you have a complete circle, that's 1, right? And so when it begins to overlap itself, okay, for that second revolution, that's 2. Even though this is all 1 wire, we're talking about where the start and the stop is, okay? That's what we're talking about here, okay? And so every time it goes past that start point, it's like hitting a ticker, okay? That ticker tells you how many field interactions it's going to have every time a pulse of energy goes through this wire, all right? And that's how you're going to determine the field interactions. So if this wire or the energy's got to travel this wire 5 times before it comes back out the end again, okay, that means it's going to interact with itself 5 times before it comes out. So you have 5 field interactions, okay? If you want to know what strength that is, okay, what's the energy level, you would go to the number 5 on your periodic table of elements, the atomic number 5, okay? And I believe that it's beryllium, okay? And because it's an infinity, you have to add 1 for the light spectrum of things. So the number 6 comes up, right? Well, carbon is 6. Somebody says it's boron, okay? So with it being, when you dealing with this, 6 in the spectrum of light is carbon, okay? Yeah. So that's what you're trapping here is carbon, okay? The energy of carbon. You're going to utilize that energy. Now, let's say you had, with 45 total, okay, whatever the periodic table of elements number is, okay, for that, I have one. And we will find out for sure. And I'll be able to tell you what 46 is, or 45. Maybe. All right. I'm going to screen share this. And then we'll find it. Because we're talking about field interactions here. And what you need to be able to see is the cross section of these wires and the energetic fields that you're putting off. But when you got 2,000 pictures like I do, we're trying to see oh, come on. Well, evidently I don't have it, guys. If you can tell me what the periodic table of elements number 45 and 46 is, that would be grateful. I must have deleted it off of here. I'll show you what I mean by field interactions. Whenever you're bending your wire back and forth, creating a magnetic or gravitational energy field. Why is this stuff working against me? Are you not supposed to know it? Thank you, Lori. 45 is rhodium and 46 is palladium. So on the energetic scale of things, all right, this capacitor, this hybrid capacitor would be creating 46 total field interactions, okay, which is the same energy as palladium, okay. Awesome. That's probably why. We are live again on YouTube. Welcome back, everybody. Okay. We're still discussing there's 45 field interactions here, okay, which we create the element, the energy element, okay, of rhodium, okay, that has an atomic number of 45. Because it's an infinity, you have to add another energetic circle around it, all right, that we're accounting for it, and it creates the palladium, okay, palladium, excuse me. What's special about palladium? It absorbs 700 times its amount or its weight in hydrogen, okay? So it can super absorb hydrogen. So that's why this is important, okay? I didn't know about that when I made it. I just know that I did create it for a reason. Well, if that's the case, and this can store hydrogen, okay, and this tiny little slice of a sphere, right? That's all you're working with here is this tiny little slice, because when you mess with the slice and you recreate this energy field, you're creating the whole sphere of energy, okay? All 360 degrees of that energy is what you're creating, guys, all right? So you keep that in mind when you're recreating your elements. If you want to put a name to it, sure. This is recreating the energy of palladium, all right? You don't need it. It's got 46 field interactions. That's all you really need to know, okay? All the excess stuff, it's just something else for your brain to remember, okay? It's not bad to remember it, okay? But when it comes time to figuring out what you've got here, okay, and how you want to recreate it, then by all means, you want to start figuring this stuff out. Now, what I want to do is I want to figure out how to get the most energy out of this, okay? And since I know that the capacitors, okay, for my quad cores, as we can see here, we use the aluminum foil to connect to the negative side, and we use the paper side to connect to the positive, right? Well, if I utilize this and I make the whole outer ring positive, okay, that means I've got to wrap it in this paper, right? And then put my copper wire on it and hold it in place. That would be the positive side, okay? And then I could take and wrap the centerpiece here with some more of the paper, okay, that's been dipped in the activated charcoal, and then wrap the centerpiece here with aluminum foil, okay? Well, instead of having 3 different things coming off of it, I think we're only going to have 2. Okay? And I don't know, what do you guys think? You think we should do 2 or 3 for this? If we do 2, 1 on this side, 1 here, and then 1 in the center, okay? Then we'd be able to draw the energy from the centerpiece and harness it. Okay, but we'll figure it out when we go. Okay, this is part of being creative. There's a picture in here that I want to show all of you for field interactions. So that you can understand what I mean every time you move a wire next to itself. Okay. We're going to see right here on the screen. Okay. This is, like a 3-stacker unit for what the Keshe Foundation uses. And I wanted to show you guys that the shape that you're looking at is what you're trying to recreate is located right here. Okay. If you can see the 6-pointed star that's there, remember, these are 3D six-pointed stars. Okay. And if you're to look at it from the top, okay, you would be able to see the point coming out the top, and there would be another point coming out the bottom. Maybe not the bottom, but you're going to see it, all right? And you can see those very prevalent right here. This is the giver of life, as it's called, all right? And this is what you're trying to recreate, the 3D shape, okay, of the 6-pointed star. It doesn't matter how you recreate it. It's just that you're recreating that shape, all right? So in all of my teachings, when you take a nano-coated piece of copper wire, all right, and you make a circle around it, or you make a circle of it, and then you twist it in half, you get a figure 8. You get the infinity symbol. That's what we're working with here. We're just rebuilding that structure, okay? So when you're using the infinity devices, right, that are just the single wire figure 8, you're creating a slice of that star. You don't have to create the whole circle, all right? As you can see here, I've got this one as a vertical view, all right? You're looking at the maggrav units, okay? Straight on, this is what you're seeing, okay? If you were to walk all the way around your maggrav stacker units, all right, you would still be able to see this very same picture all the way around in 3D, all right? Because you're just creating a slice of it. You're just taking a slice of that energy out of there, all right? This is why the infinity is so powerful, okay? So in doing so, this is what your 3-stacker units look like from the side, okay? in the spectrum of light, right, we have, on our current table of elements, you have hydrogen, okay, and helium as the atomic numbers 1 and 2, okay? On the spectrum of light, hydrogen is 2. Helium is 3, or the Trinity, okay? So this is our old table of elements. This is the new table of elements, okay? Because when you're working with these plasmatic devices, you're only working with the light energy. You don't have to worry about mass. You don't have to worry about the color. You don't have to worry about all of that. You just need to know that this number right here, this 2 and the 3 and 4 and 5, that's how many field interactions that you need to create in order to create the energy of that element. For gold, you need 79, okay? You need 80 field interactions to encompass all of the gold energy and everything below it and hold it in place and cram it together, okay? Because you're trying to like stuff, 79 balloons inside of one bigger balloon, all right? And each one of them's got to take up some sort of space. So that's what you're trying to do here. And if you look at this, you will see that there are 2 of those 6-pointed stars that are created in this triple stacker unit. Okay? This is a neutrino, and this is a neutrino. When you make that 6-pointed star, it's capturing the neutrino by using plasmatic walls that you can visually see there, okay, inside of that. And it's holding it there, right? Well, I've always said it takes 2 to tango. Well, 2 is hydrogen, okay? When you stack 2 neutrinos on top of each other, right? So you've got your one neutrino here and your second neutrino, and they're right next to each other, right? Well, since those 2 are next to each other, they've got that protective field around them, right? Now you've also got the energetic field on the outside from the actual copper wire, okay, and your nano coating. And so now you've got one energetic field here, and you've got a secondary energetic field on the inside, okay? That encompasses. The magic happens right there in the center, and that's what's expressed outwards. And that's the energy that you feel, okay? That's the energy that feeds your body. Well, when you put enough energy to this, all right, you're actually creating a soap bubble effect. And you're taking hydrogen energy and ionizing it. Well, there's not enough ionization, okay, energy, right, that you can see, but you can sure feel it. And this is your neutrino shape, yet again, the structure of light. You can do the same energetic field if you turn this into a copper plate, a nano-coated copper plate, and this one into an unnano-coated copper plate. This environment right here happens to be the salt water, okay, that you've put in here. You connect it with a plain copper wire, you create the energy flow that's needed, and the circuit is complete. Therefore, you're able to trap the energy inside of that. That's what we're doing here. We're creating plasmatic walls. And if you can create it, and you can see here by putting 3 bubbles together, okay, with their toroidal fields, as you can see, okay, The energy comes in, it's crisscrossed, okay? Crosses over the center, right? It's gonna go around to this one and crisscross itself again and go to the opposite side. This is the way the energy flows. And then on its return path, you can see where it loops and then it travels back up in the opposite direction. And this is your give and your take, the gravitational and your magnetical. See? And then it comes around and just keeps doing the same thing. And eventually you see the cycle of the energy that is created all within this. And your whole goal is to try and create these plasmatic walls. Okay? In order to create these, okay, right here, right, you've got to have the 3 circles, okay, of your maggrav coils, right? And you have to have them stacked on top of each other. Well, what if you replaced these coils with your capacitors? Okay, and that's what we're working on here, is making the coils the capacitor by itself so that you don't have to plug it into the wall. Well, when you're doing this stuff, okay, and you have a top and a bottom, right? Well, this is what's referred to as the capstone, okay? This energetic field sits and sandwiches this center one. All right? So you've got to remember that in order to have a perfectly balanced one in the center, okay, this would be, it takes the power of 3 to create 2, okay? It takes the power of 9 to create 8, okay? 9 is the divine 8. 3 is the divine 2, okay? So if you want to ionize hydrogen, you have to have at least 3 field interactions, the trinity, all right? And that's where you get your coils, okay? They're using the coils as your field interactions here, okay? But you have a capstone that goes on the top, and then you have another capstone that goes on the bottom. And you got to remember that when you're energizing these coils, there's a meniscus that forms between the plasma and the air. Okay? So your coils are going to run in this direction, right? And we're going to say that this yellow is the plasmatic energy field, okay, the outer barrier of it, right? So all of this purple energy that's in here, okay, is being held in because the whole device has a field around it, right? And that's what you're harnessing. That's what you're working with here. So if you can visualize what the energy is doing after you've created the stacker units, okay, you should be able to add to it. And when you add to it, you create other fields, all right? Like the flower of life requires 42 field interactions, guys. 42 separate reactors that are centered that all interact at one or more sides of their field interaction. So if you look at the flower of life, you'll see that each one of your circles is the center of one of these reactors, okay, or one of these coils that you're seeing here. All right, so if you can do that and set up your flower of life in that sense, then you would be able to create your gateway out of here. Now, if you don't want to use copper wire to do all of that, and you just want to use energetic fields, then you need to understand it better, okay? That's where the infinity comes in. But we've got to remember, this device here that you see on the screen, okay, is providing the pressure, your capstone on the top, okay, and the bottom. That's providing the pressure inwards, okay, your plasma pressure, and it's creating the walls that you saw with the 3D, okay, 6-pointed star. Now, the edges that you see here, okay, where you see these dips, okay, the spaces between the coils, you'll always hear me say that this is where the magic happens, okay? You can tell there are 2 spaces here, 1, 2, right? Well, those 2 spaces represent hydrogen. So you can automatically tell yourself that 2 equals hydrogen. So I'm creating the energy of hydrogen. Now what am I going to do to encompass that, to take care of that, to hold it and harness it and not disturb it, so that I can get all the energy I need out of that, okay? So that's what you're seeing here. And it automatically creates this meniscus just like it does in the wood or in the water for, you know, like the beakers when you fill your waters up, okay, and you're trying to get a measurement. It looks like, you know, if you've got the side of your glass here, okay, you get the same effect, okay? This is a pretty pretty drastic meniscus here, but if you were to hold the cup up and look at it, you'll be able to see that there is a dip, an obvious dip where the water starts to climb up the sides of the glass rather than be level and flat, okay? And that's what's happening here with the plasma, is that you are trying to, it's trying to be pulled from the center and climb over the edge of the coils, right? So it's behaving the same way that water does, but it doesn't have any mass to it, so it's unaffected that way. You can blow the plasma from between the coils, okay, because it's such a lightweight, depending if the energetic field is there or not, okay? Or you can house it in glass or other plastic, it doesn't matter, okay, to protect it, to keep it from blowing all over the place and messing up its flow of energy, okay? But this is what you're trying to accomplish here when it comes to creating these MagGrav units, okay? You can do these with infinity coils, and you can make it with capacitors. You can do it any way you want, any arrangement that you want, as long as you have the top one, okay, and as long as you have the bottom one. You have to have your end caps on it, guys, and that's what we're working with here. You got to have the end caps to make sure that it's all stuck and held in place, right? If you're putting together your units and you've got all these wires that are dangling out and, you know, they're confusing or whatnot, put them all together the way you want to and then re-nanocoat them, okay? Nanocoat your whole unit after you're done, just to ensure that your plasma stays within the wires, where it's going and where you want it to go. Okay, 90% of the failures out there right now with these MagGrav units is because your nanocoating is breaking. You're not taking the care that's needed. You're not nourishing the skin. Okay, if you had a good nanocoating, it would be actually flexible like your skin. Okay, You get too much, it cracks, it falls off, it dries off, it becomes non-sustainable. All right. So think of it like a hamburger. This is what you want to create. Okay. Here's the top bun. Here's the bottom bun. Okay. You want to keep the space in between it so that you can put the meat in the middle, right? And then you got your lettuce and your tomatoes and your vegetables and your ketchup and whatever else you guys want to put in the middle of that. Okay. So build it like you would a hamburger. All right. You can get yourself a visual, and you're going to get all your energy from your vegetables. All right. And then if you noticed, I put the vegetables in the spaces between it. Okay. Your hamburger, the meat, is more like a resistor. Okay. A dielectric. It's not good for you. All right. We don't need it. We feel like we need it because we've been trained. Okay. But if you make it like a hamburger, okay, you'll never lose. Now, all you can do from here is keep adding. All right. Keep adding to this stuff. Come on. Okay. If this is just one coil here, this is the second coil, this is the third one. Okay. What are you going to do when you do 8? Okay. What are you going to do? What's going to happen? You're going to create how many of these? Okay. This is annoying me. Okay. Let's say we got 3 here, right? We'll do 4, 5, 6, and 8. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would tell me I've got 8 here, right? And if between every single one except for the top and the bottom, okay, down there is a complete 6-pointed star, right? So that means I've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So that's, if I've got 8 units, 8 copper wires, 8 coils, 8 infinity wraps, 8 nano-coated wires, okay, or capacitors stacked like this, okay, then it would house 7 plasmas, 7 neutrinos, okay, because this is all your vegetables. Each one of these dots are your vegetables. It's all the good stuff, okay? The longer ones represent your coils, okay, or your capacitor rings, or anything that you've got, you know, set up for your maggrav units, all right? This is how you add to it. Well, in the original design, you had 2 wires for each one of these coils, right? You had an outer wire, which was turned a certain way in a certain number, okay? And then you had an inner wire, okay? So each one of those technically represents 2 field interactions because you have 2 separate wires. Doesn't matter how many times, any turns you've got in that, that's just your galactic phone number, okay? Well, if you make them in the quad cores, okay, you're just doubling this, okay, from 2 to 4. And we're going to say that each one of these is 4, right? Because that's what we're making with these IQ devices. Okay? And so you've got four coils here. That means each one of these is 4 field interactions. So you have 4 times 8, okay? Because there's 8 coils. 4 times 8 is 32, all right? So this particular setup would have 32 field interactions that's holding all of the energy inside. All right, so whatever your energy on the inside is, it has to be less. And in this case, it's 7. Okay, because you've got 7 open plasmas that you've created. Okay, each one of those is positive, a positive polarity. Okay, your outer one, okay, the one that's up here on the very top, that's a negative polarity. All right, and the one on the bottom down here is a negative polarity. And you've encompassed the 2 positives or the 2 negatives on either side and put all that positive energy trapped inside. Okay? And each one of these represents a complete circle. In a lot of my previous work, okay, you have seen where I tell you to make one of these devices with 8 loops in it. What do you think is happening inside of those circles when you nanocode it? The same exact thing that happens inside of your MagGrav units. All right? Simplify yourselves down so that you can understand that that single wire is doing the exact same thing, okay, as 8 of these stacker units. It's running the same energy, all right? It also just so happens to be the same energy that we've got inside the human body with our chakra system. Okay, I count the pineal gland as one of your chakras because it has to be activated in order for it to happen. So there are 8 chakras. If this is the center of your body and your shoulders, okay, here's your head, right? And you got your neck, and then you got your shoulder, torso. Okay. Might be a little difficult to see with the rest of this background, but this is your energy centers. This is how it all ties together into your body. Okay. And right now, those of you that are feeling it, it might be spiritually involved with yourselves, and you might understand what the Kundalini is. All right. At the base of your spine is a serpent of energy, okay, the Kundalini. And every human being is born on this planet. It is there and it's present, okay? As it's being activated, you'll be able to feel it climb up your body, okay? For some of you, it might be painful, okay? For some of you, it's a very pleasant experience, right? And as it's climbing up, it's going to encompass all of your chakras, bring them all together into an alignment, and then they're going to join together. And when they do, you ionize the outer energy field, you get a halo around your head, you become a divine being because you're constantly connected to source. So you don't need these devices, guys, to have the energy within you. And that is what this is all about, is to show you the energy that's inside of you is the same energy that you're recreating here. Okay? You have to identify that energy within you in order for these devices to work, because they talk the same language. Okay? And that means that those of you that are suffering from PTSD and, you know, or a post-traumatic stress disorder or paranoia or whatever, okay? being able to sense danger, okay, is one of your abilities, okay? For me, being paranoid, I knew exactly what to look for whenever I'd go into a restaurant. How many exits there were, how many windows, where's my back being placed, what's going on, how is, how many people are in the room, how many of those people look like threats, how many people look neutral, how many of those, these are all of the things that go through a soldier's mind as you walk into a building. Before you even step foot in that building, we've already assessed all of that stuff, okay? And that's just having a complete awareness of your surroundings, okay? Now, some of those soldiers know when, somebody walks into the room, or they can feel the energy that's being displaced by some people, okay? They don't get a good feeling about it, and it makes them angry, okay? That's the sense that you have to hone, okay? Being able to read that, that's interacting with other people's auric energy fields and picking up that energy and saying, I don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. Okay. So you put your guard up, right? Well, that's what you're picking up on when you become, into your own awareness. There's nothing wrong with you. The only thing that's wrong with you guys out there is that you're taking this medication. Okay. I've been off my medication. I had 17 different medications that I was on, to include 30 milligrams of Valium a day prescribed to me in order for me to function correctly or according to society. So I know the effects of what it does, okay? And watching my videos and the knowledge that I've been able to share with the world, okay? You guys even got to see me move some aluminum foil with just my thoughts and my energy, all right? Sure, it doesn't seem like much, but go ahead and try it, okay? You might surprise yourselves. I'm not a special person here. I'm no different than anybody else. It's just that I have a different perception of how we can utilize the energy that's wrapped around us, okay, all the time. And it's always there. And these wires, when you're building the atoms from the shapes of these wires, like in the water reactor, where you're creating two hydrogen elements, okay, or two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom, okay, and you're combining them together, you're creating an H2O. And therefore, you're recreating the structure of light for water. All of the needed information to attract water there. I have not figured out how to do that just yet, but I'm doing it as we go along, okay? And the more people that understand it, the more information gets unlocked for me, because I can't seem to move forward until somebody understands this. All right, so I explain it, and sometimes I explain things more than once in different ways, okay, so help clarify and get a better understanding. All right. When we're talking about the field interactions, okay, whenever you're twisting your wires together, okay, you have to think of this wire right here as a connected wire. Okay, that it's going further away. You'll see this yellow line, all right? It's going further away. It's being curved back around, okay? And this is the other side, the other point. And so you're looking at the two end points of this wire, okay, as it's bent in half, all right? When you nanocode it, it's giving off these energetic fields automatically before you even bend it, okay? And whatever you put into your nanocoding, all right, is going to determine how many of these little lines are going to be inside of there. The more that you have, the more number of lines or number of elements that are present, okay? The thicker, the harder, the denser your nanocoding becomes, okay? And the energy, all right? Each one of these, if you're going to start in the center here, all right, because it's a nano-coated wire and plasma takes up the shape of its container, when you nano-coat it, you're putting an eggshell around that wire. All right? And it's allowing plasma to be trapped inside of that wire already. And once it's completely nano-coated, okay, you can't think of it as a copper wire anymore. You have to think of it as a tube, okay? And that tube is filled with energy. And that energy is giving off all of this energetic fields, okay? When I was showing you my multimeter and it was jumping around all the different voltages, right? Okay? The multimeter is actually trying to pick up that energetic field, that energetic field, that one, that one, that one. Oh, we got to go back to this one because that one got stronger. It's going back and forth. All right? And so for each field interaction that you've got in your wire, your single wire, that's how many times your numbers are going to jump. So you can't really rely on the numbers of your multimeter. It's just good to know that you have more than one field interaction going on because your number is not steady. Okay? If it's changing and it's blinking back and forth, then it's changing polarity from a positive to a negative. Okay? You're jumping field interactions. And that's what you want. Okay? Because what happens here on the right side, okay, isn't necessarily true what's going to happen on the left side. Okay? Because you got to remember, this energetic field on the left side is moving away from you now. Okay? So when it's moving away from you, it's going to appear to get smaller, right? So you have to look at the energetic field as the spiral that's moving away from you. Okay? Now, remember, this is a wire that's bent in half. Okay? If this is the source one that's on the left, right, it's got to travel all the way down to the center, right, and come out the other side. Okay? So that means that this side is coming out here, right? And so it continues out this way. When it's coming out and you see all this spiraling energy, okay, this is where all the magic happens, guys and gals. This is your total number of field interactions. The left side, okay, is your source side. The right side is the, or we'll go the in, okay, the left is your in, and the right is your out, okay? So now this is what you're seeing here, and it's kind of like if you were to put the drill bits together or screws together and you tried to screw them together, the threads will interlock with each other, okay? And that's what you're doing here, okay? You gotta think of it that way, that the threads are interlocking, because if you don't, get the threads interlocking idea and concept, okay, this is a side view. And they'll say the left side is your source side, right? As soon as it starts to change the other direction, okay, you have to remember that it changes polarity. Okay, because this energy on this side is traveling in this direction. And when you bend it, okay, because the source is still saying the same up here, all right, it's not changing, okay, only the direction of the energy changes. And that's why you get the push and the pull. Well, what happens when you put those two together? Okay, you get a double helix, right? Remind you of anything? Yeah, you get your DNA. Okay, you get your push and your pull. Well, you got to remember that your DNA strands are connected to something, right? So you got to double connect here. Well, this one needs to be connected to one circuit, right? And this one needs to be connected to another circuit. And this stuff right here in the middle programs these things to talk to each other. Okay, so what are you going to create? What are you going to program? Are you going to have 79 in here so that you can create gold? Or are you going to move up into the elements that give off a nuclear radiation, okay, an excess amount of energy? Okay, when you convert it to a plasma, they don't give off that nuclear radiation, okay, but the energy is still there. That's why it's the plasma version is not dangerous. When you interact those fields with something else that can be dangerous, okay, but before you can even move that far into your understanding, you have to understand the basics, and this part right here is the basics. And when you do understand these basics, you'll understand the cause and effect of everything that you do in your life, in all of the devices that you make, in everything. Okay? Now, we're going to go even a step further, okay? And I'm going to show you what it would look like for the energy field for a Trinity wire, okay? And it would start up here because it's going to switch directions again. Remember, this has got two. This would be your double helix, okay? And if you had made a third bend in the wire, okay, that followed this path, clean this up a little bit. Okay. And then this was your in, right, or your source. And this would be your out. Okay. Well, it would still do the same exact thing and it would change color again, right? Because it's going back the other direction. And so you get the coil, or your energy flow is what it looks like here. Well, if you look at it, you've got two reds now, right? Two reds, one on this side, one on this side, okay? That's encompassing this blue energy field here, right? And when you twist them together, you get your Trinity wire, okay? And now you got your three wires, okay? Now, let's color these in for you. that means I've got two negative energy fields that are encompassing a positive energy field that's in the center, right? And that's why the Trinity works. When you're twisting it, guys, we're just removing all of this airspace. We don't need the airspace. Airspace is inefficient. Okay, that's why we twist the wires so tight, okay, that it looks just like a single wire. You use it as a single wire. But just know that you now have a plasmatic conduit, okay? When you make them this way, right here, this is your superconductor highway that's going to transfer all of your energy that's built up, okay? And as this red energy is passing over the top of this central wire, okay, it's collecting it, it's saving it, it's harvesting the energy from it. And because you've got an in and an out, okay, you can decide where you want the energy to go. Okay, and that's why you put in, you connect it to your positive, okay, or the red wires on your DC devices, okay, and your AC. So this one connects to the positive side for your house, okay. Your out would be your negative side, okay. The energy flows in. It's got to travel through every single one of these pathways, okay, to create every single energy in the center, okay. And it's got to do all of that while racing to the finish line to meet up at the exact same time that the electrons are going to pass. So when the light goes on, your electrons are passing as they should be, but you've had to super speed up all of this in here in order for it to reach the finish line at the same time. And in doing so, in speeding all that up, this is going to give off an energetic field, okay? A lot like the induction fields that you would see on Faraday's theory of induction, or as part of it, okay? It's this energy field that you're harnessing, okay? It's this energy field that you need to put next to another energy field. So that you can have the space in the middle that's going to create the magic, guys. Okay? That's how this has got to work. And, we can have 500 field interactions in one device, but it's still just one device. Okay? You need 3 of those devices, or 2 of those devices, or 6, or 10, or 12. That's up to you. That's your creativity. Just know that when you reach, I believe, 8, you start to see your hand disappear. Okay? Transparency. Nothing strange is going on except that it's creating the same energy that your body is. Okay? Therefore, when you interact with it, it ceases to be visually present to you. It cancels it out. It's like the noise cancellation, okay, for that they've got for, certain headphones and things like that, okay? Instead of having a noise cancellation, you're doing a light cancellation. And that's how you become invisible. This isn't, you got to have super intelligence in order to understand this. You just have to understand if you create the same light frequency or light energy as you, and you step in front of it, it will cancel you out. Okay? It just cancels out what people can see of you. You're not physically gone. Okay? And that's how these beings and creatures are moving around. Okay? They're creating the same energy field as themselves around, utilizing the ether and the energy that's within and around us. That's how they stay hidden. Okay? Well, you guys have these tools now too. How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to work this? How are you going to use that to your advantage so that you can move around and take down key infrastructure that's holding our people prisoners? Okay? How are you going to do that to help the people that need the help the most? Not how are you going to help yourself? Because I promise you it's going to come back and bite you in the butt if you screw it up. Okay? Have a pure heart. Know that you have these abilities now. You have the means to do this. Okay? I'm showing you the physical way to recreate the same energy that you've got inside of your body. Okay? And as you become more awakened in your life, okay, and a clear understanding of being able to see the energetic field that's 2 feet in front of you, all right, literally, when you can see that field, you learn that you can manipulate it, okay? And when you manipulate that energy field that's around you, you start sending out little ripples that cause other people and things to change. Plants can feel it and whatever. It's getting stronger, okay? And those of you guys that are watching my videos, okay, and following my work, or maybe, you were recommended by somebody, okay, it's because you're seeing things that I'm explaining, okay? And that means that you're going to have some answers. And when you have answers, that means you have solutions. And it's imperative that I talk to you guys freely about this stuff, because it might be one sentence out of the whole day that might trigger somebody for somebody, okay? It'll trigger so that you guys can open up these things and explore your own possibilities, okay? Don't be so afraid to experiment. Zane has been doing a fantastic job with his experimenting. A lot of people out there that I've seen, you guys have stepped up, and you're showing these infinity devices, and you're showing that it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as the damn thing works, okay? We're not here to make it look pretty yet, okay? Once we have some devices and we're all self-sustaining, okay, then we can move into the manufacturing side of things, okay? But we need to get as many of these out as possible. And 360 of these IQ devices is your key number. I can't make 360 of them. We need 360 individual people to make them. And when that happens, you create an energetic bubble just like these GANs and these neutrinos, okay? That's a monopole magnet. It's all a single polarity. That means you get to take up 1 degree in this sphere of Earth that we've got, okay? And 360 of those, that means we're stuffing 360 balloons inside of this bigger balloon we call the atmosphere of Earth. And when that happens, we create a protective field around our planet that allows us to be consciously aware of everything on the planet. Everything, okay? And everybody on the planet. So we only need 360 enlightened individuals, okay, to help the rest of the people evolve. They need to do this on their own. We can't force them, okay? Otherwise, this isn't evolution, okay? This is interference. And we don't want to interfere in their evolution because we don't want to change the course of action. So we have to become creative. And that's where these IQ devices come in. This is where the health pens come in, okay? You can give these health pens to people, okay? And touch their soul. You help them. They don't have to be a believer in this stuff, okay? But you can help them. And when you do this, you're bypassing their mouth and their minds, okay? And talking directly to their soul. And if you say a blessing to somebody while you're giving them, holding it up to their hand, maybe you're doing some circles, okay? If you're doing that, to imagine that there's a light beam going from the end of that pen, going through the hand, okay? And it's trying to make a connection to one of those nerve endings. So if you can get a picture of what the neurons look like in the body and the nerve, okay, the nerve pathways that they've mapped, okay, you'll be able to see just what you need to touch. Okay? And I say touch meaning that light beam is going through your hand like an X-ray, okay? And all you got to do is just interact with that nerve, okay? And it's giving and taking, and that's why it works in your hands so well, in your feet, because that's where all of your connections are when it comes to your acupuncture and the acupressure points, okay? That's where all the nerves come together, and you can affect your entire body with just your hands and your feet and heal it and bring it back to its original state of balance so that you can move on to your own ascension, okay? And you're doing this. If I make a whole bunch of devices and send them out, I'm the one that's doing it for you, okay? You've got to do it for yourself and for somebody else. It's only half as effective when you do it on yourself, and it's twice as effective if you do it on somebody else, because you're giving and you want them to heal, all right? And when you do that, you're talking directly to their soul, guys. You're just taking away their pain. You're making them feel better, okay? Which is releasing all sorts of chemicals in their brains that makes them feel good, okay? You're taking away the pain without taking away the thought of it being there, all right? Because you can still feel it, all right? You might still have a twinge in your back or, you know, a pulled muscle or something like that, okay? You can still feel the tightness in the muscle, but the pain is gone. And what you're doing is you're severing the electrical connection between that nerve ending and says, ouch, that hurts, okay? But you're not severing the energy to the muscle, all right? So you know that your muscle is still sore. You're going to take care and allowing it to heal, okay? But the pain isn't going to be there to distract you, okay? You're still going to baby it. You're still going to take care of it, but your body is healing it now, okay? You have been able to give it the balance that it's needed so that they can feed that muscle and care for itself, okay? You become self-independent, and that's what we're working on here, okay? The being able to move forward in your ascension process is really going to be defined by what you eat, okay? I still had a hamburger last night, so I got to clean myself. I got to cleanse all of my energy. Okay? My wife and I have come up with a plan for us. One, I got to stop smoking. Okay, I know that. I've told myself I'd stop smoking when they become not available. Well, I'm going to make them so that they're not available to me. All right. Two, I need to stop eating meat. Okay, not eating altogether. That's not what I'm talking about here. Just stop eating meat. Now, we purchased some really bright green protein mixture that is derived solely from plants, okay? I figure if the strongest animals on the planet are plant eaters, why can't I be a strong animal too? I don't need to eat the animals. I can eat those plants, all right? So I'm changing my thinking here, even though I like a nice juicy steak and I like to have, you know, a hamburger and some fried chicken and all that other good stuff, okay? It's only slowing me down, okay? I'm trying to move into fourth and fifth gear here, okay? And I'm stuck in third gear and my engine's revving because I'm not moving forward, all right? And so the next step for me in my evolutionary process is to stop eating meat. Okay, and that's going to free up a lot of things in my body. That one of them is the amount of iron that I start to absorb and hold on to. Okay, when you stop eating meat, okay, your blood will actually look like it's getting thicker, okay, or darker. And when you completely move yourself off of all plant materials and you're only drinking energized water, okay, then your blood will turn to a green. Okay, pretty similar. See if I can find it. In my visions, okay, you can see that green color that's sitting on the top there. that darker green, that's about the color of our blood, as it's supposed to be, right? It's the iron that's in our blood that gives us the red color, okay? When we move the iron out of our bloodstream, okay, we no longer need it anymore. It's going to be replaced with copper, okay? Iron is a negative polarity energy, all right? It's a taker, it's a gravitational, okay, which means that it's going to constantly absorb, whereas copper is a positive, which means it's going to express its energy out. That's why copper works so well for human beings, okay, when you make a copper bracelet and you're wearing it or whatever, even if it's not nano-coated, okay? The copper wire, the reason why I use it for my devices, because it most represents the way the vein systems operate, okay, in our body, okay? Copper, when it's in the nano form, okay, not in your GANS form, but in the nano form, and it's mixed with oxygen, it creates green, okay? Well, the copper is also higher conductive, or, you know, it's, you understand what I mean, okay? The conductivity of copper is higher than iron, okay? It transfers electrical signals faster, okay? So now, your blood, which is a supercapacitor already, okay, is transferring this heartbeat energy to your nerves, your heart, to every part of your body so that you can feel all the time, okay? It's doing so right now just fine using the iron in your blood, right? Well, think of it like moving from an analog clock to a digital clock, okay? And we've gone through a digital clock right now. Our bodies are a digital clock, okay? Very precise, doing what they need to do, okay? Everything is controlled, right? It's because of the iron. When we allow our bloodstream to change to copper, okay, more copper-based blood, then you get the darker green. You know, you'll notice that your veins might be blue, things like that. That's because of the lack of oxygen mixing with the iron. Okay, it's depleted oxygen. Well, it's going to turn into that the copper colored, and you're going to become a supercapacitor in your body. Okay, which means that you're going to be able to store a mass amount of energy. Okay, and when that happens, as your blood is changing, your skin also changes. Okay, and we move from being a carbon-based entity into more of a silica-based. Okay, which means that the surface of your skin is going to be a superconductor. Okay, even more so, and it'll resemble, okay, if you were able to visualize it, the surface of your copper wire, okay, the nano coating. That's what's going to resemble the most, all right? And just like the energy, all right, doesn't ever reach the inside of this copper wire, okay, because it's dispersed along the surface before it ever even touches the copper. That's why it's an insulator, okay? The same thing will happen to your skin, guys. You basically become untouchable, okay? All the energy that comes in, your body absorbs it. This is what they call the light body. And the biggest depiction or best depiction that I've seen was on Gaia TV the other night. I watched it. It's a movie made back in 2014 called The Last Avatar. Okay. And in my visions, okay, my light body looks like what they showed in that movie. And it was so realistic that I honestly believe that they showed what the true light body looks like. Okay. And we think that it's special effects and graphics where it's not. All right. It touched me so deeply that I wasn't crazy, okay, because the energy fields that I saw looks exactly what I saw in the movie, okay. That was a lot of checkpoints for me because nobody else, I couldn't explain it. I couldn't even show it or, you know, demonstrate it because I'm not to that point yet, okay. I still eat meat, I still eat food, right? But I saw the energetic field and it made me cry. It touched my heart so much. That's how I know that that's what we're moving to. Now, this is a progression, okay? And like I said, where I get my information from, there is no time, guys. Time doesn't exist except here because we have watches, okay, and clocks. That's the only reason why time exists, all right? And when we learn to let go of time, okay, and the perception of time, that's when things start to speed up, okay? And you might be noticing that right now is that you're kind of losing track of things that happened earlier in the week, okay, or even 2 weeks ago. Or maybe you're kind of sitting around and all of a sudden it's Wednesday and you just very distinctly remember it being Monday, you know, okay? You're just kind of losing track of time because we're moving into the fifth density. We're all raising in vibration, okay? There's going to be some rough stuff that we got to get through first, okay? That's the emotional trigger for all of these humans out there that are unable to wake up, all right? And it's our job to help them. Be creative, be loving, be caring, be kind, okay? And if we're not kind and we don't help our neighbors, who is going to help us when we need it, okay? Are there any questions? It is at the top of the hour here. My crunch chakra's on fire, guys. I'm getting a lot of messages. Prepare, okay? Don't prepare for fear. Prepare for those that are going to come to you, because you know more than they do, even if this is the first time watching this, okay? You know more than they do, and they're looking for answers, and there's a lot of people out there that don't know what the truth is, okay? This is my version of the truth, the best way that I know how to explain to you guys on what's really going on. And we should be extremely proud of the creation that we've created. And when we learn to manipulate them, and you know, as the Hopi prophecy comes true, okay, the red kachina makes its appearance, okay, the purifier. There's going to be a lot of people that, as this planet seeks balance, okay, all of those that have an excess amount of negative polarity energy inside of them might get zapped by the purifier, as it's called, okay? Yeah, if you have a negative polarity or a negative density about you, you become a lightning rod. And that's why it's called the purifier, is because you start attracting these lightning bolts, okay? And you disappear, okay? It's not that you're dead. You get moved to a different location because you can no longer be on this planet anymore. And you're going to be able to witness this, and it's not death, okay? And then you'll be able to see the planet change right before your eyes, okay? And you'll be able to see the flowers blooming. You'll be able to see the grass grow, the trees, the water will clear up, the fish will thrive, the plants will thrive, the animals will thrive, okay? And nothing on this planet will have to eat anything else. That's where we're moving. No animal will have to eat another animal to survive. It won't have to eat plants, and we will all be able to communicate. And we get to learn our whole friends, all of our friends again, okay? And realize just how disconnected we were. And the point of all of that disconnection and the feeling of being lost, embrace this moment right now when you don't understand, okay? Because when you do understand and it finally clicks for you, those emotions that you have, somebody else is going to feel, okay? And your path, the way that you understand it, okay, is going to help somebody else understand it as well. That's why you're here right now at this very moment listening to my voice, okay, is because every decision that you ever made in your life, in your timeline, brought you right here. Now ask yourself, what are you going to do with this information? Okay? You've got to believe that this stuff is true in order for all this other stuff to work right. Okay? And if you don't like Harry Potter and you don't like the sound of witchcraft or casting spells or whatever else because you're afraid of what somebody else thinks, okay? That very same energy is what was being used against us to hold us where we are. And they make you want to think about it as something bad, okay? Because if you think of it as something bad, you won't do it. Well, there's a video out there of a satanic ritual where where they opened up the longest underground tunnel or something for a train. Okay, and they made a music video out of it, and I'll be damned if it isn't a satanic ritual. And if you think otherwise, you're mistaken. Okay, it's not a hoax. They're doing that already. They're going through the motions because they understand what it takes to make these things a reality. And we have felt victim to them all the time. 9/11, that was a sacrifice of human life to fulfill a destiny. And it was that sacrifice of human life in 9/11, okay, that changed the course of humanity in a different timeline. And that different timeline destroyed trillions and trillions of lives that humanity was responsible for. Okay? Well, super intelligent beings saw that, and they sent people back in time. The super intelligent beings. And they fixed that. Okay? And right now, this awakening, this confusion that we've got going on and what to believe and what not to believe, okay? It's an experience that you need to embrace, okay? Man, they really did all that stuff and they really put us under this spell. How did they do that? Okay? That's all they are, is these energetic spells that they put into place, okay? They're called grids. And they're using them against you. And they've been torn down. And right now, that's why you're able to remember, and that's why it's foggy, okay? You know this stuff. You're being drawn to it. You got to listen to yourself, okay? You got to pay attention to the images that are forming in your brain, okay? Because those are plasma images. Those are images of light. It's not a computer screen that you're looking at, guys. It's not a monitor anywhere else. It's a picture that your brain forms using the same energy that's trapped in these devices, okay? That's why your imagination is so powerful. Animals do not have an imagination, okay? Not like humans. And when you create things with your thoughts, when the singularity occurs, okay, every thought that you create is going to be a reality right then. So decide now, while you still have the ability of time, okay, don't think of it as a curse, okay, while we still have time and it isn't instant manifestation, how would you fix the world if you had unlimited power? That's what you need to think about. Daydream about it. Get stoned. Go smoke a joint. Go get drunk off alcohol if that's what you want to do. But allow yourself the time to think about it, okay? To visualize the picture in your head. Don't visualize bombs. Don't visualize destruction. Visualize a beautiful planet, okay? And if you had a whole bunch of little kids out there that were, heading into elementary school for the first time and you had all this new information, how would you go about teaching those little kids? Those are the things that you have to think about, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to create the reality before everybody else does. So you don't have to worry about the bad stuff. When it happens, you got the tools to take care of it, okay? It's the other people that you need to be concerned with, because they're going to come to you and they're going to look for answers. And you're going to teach them this stuff. You're going to tell them how it works. And then you're going to send them on their way so that they can go help other people and themselves and their family. Okay? That's how these stations, as we call them, these light cities are working. And that's what we're creating when you create these plasmatic devices. You're creating an energy bubble around you. Okay? Your heart will control that energy bubble when the time is right. One of the questions from Ross, as ascension occurs, we pass through the fourth dimension. How long will that take for ascension? We're already in the fourth density right now. Humanity has been raised up into the fourth density of things. This is why we're able to talk about, okay, and comprehend things like teleportation, okay, space flight using ionized hydrogen, okay, or ionized helium, stasis chambers for giants, okay. When we talk about those things, that means that somebody else out there can comprehend it, okay. If nobody else out there is able to comprehend this, okay, it would come out as gobbledygook, blah, 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 and you would not be able to understand a word that I say. It won't make any sense to you, all right? And there are some people out there right now that feel this way. Now, that doesn't make me different than you. That just means that you're at a different level of your ascension process, okay? You don't have to understand what I understand. You just have to start following the things that I'm doing when I'm making the designs, okay? Or when I tell you how you can apply it to your life, so that you're basically checking the block, guys, okay? You got to check the block here, because there's only one path that the light travels, okay? And you've seen it, and it travels that one wire, okay? Just like a garden hose, you turn the water on with the spigot, it's got to go through the whole hose before it can come out the end, okay? Well, that's what happens in our body. We're going to turn on the spigot, okay? And we're going to have that energy flow all throughout our body, and then it's got to come back up, okay? Is it going to go everywhere, or are you going to have control over it, okay? And that's what we're deciding here. But you have to be able to visualize it and see it so that you can change it, all right? So go through my drawings, go through my pictures, okay? Go through the things that you want me to talk about, okay? And ask me the questions. I'm more than happy to get online and talk to you guys about it, okay? This last week, I've been downloading a lot of stuff, going through a lot of my own personal changes, okay? I physically feel like, you know, I've got an extra organ inside of me, okay? Because my upper torso, I have a lot of pressure, okay? And I feel bruised from the inside, okay? As we received a bunch of energetic energy from the central sun, it releases the gases in your cells, okay, and inside of your stomach. And there's no other way for it to go except inward, okay? And then it's expressed out by, you know, flatulence or burping or, you know, things like that, okay? But it literally releases all the gases, the toxic gases from your cells, okay? And you get that bloated feeling, all right? Well, for 2 nights in a row, it felt like I had a bowling ball in my solar plexus, okay? And ever since then, I'm sore on the inside of my body, all right? And it feels like everything has been displaced or moved, okay? It's shifting around, it's changing positions. That's what it feels like to me, okay? This is part of the ascension process as my body prepares itself, kind of like a transformer that's in slow motion right now, okay? Maybe my glands, okay, and I don't know how to prove this, but this is what comes to my mind, all right? Maybe my glands are repositioning themselves, okay? So that they're all in line the way they need to be, okay? Instead of having glands under your armpits anymore, okay, they'll come down here. Maybe these glands all need to be right where they need to be, okay? And so these are just moving in, or maybe they're not moving at all, okay? Maybe they're just activated now. Well, if you think about it, put an energetic field around it, okay, on your body, on every single one of your glands, and make sure that they're all the same size. You will see that your glands, your pituitary gland, all of your other glands that are in your brain, okay, you got the glands underneath here in your throat, okay, you've got glands in your neck here. All of those are little mag grab coils, all right? And in the middle is where they create the magic, the energy, right? Well, if you've got 2 glands over here, right? Well, isn't that a cross? Right? You see? You understand the energy flow now? All right? Not getting into a religious, but this is where the symbology comes from. Okay? Or the Ankh. Okay? Those are the things that you will take. Okay? Your ascension process right now, you might notice that you'll have a couple of good days, and then all of a sudden you'll wake up in a really pissy mood, and you won't know why. Nothing has bothered you anyways up until that point, right? Well, when you get to that point, you got to sit back, go be by yourself so you don't engage anybody else. There's no reason to give your bad mood to somebody else, okay? You sit back and you think about it. Why am I grumpy today? You know? All right, I need to stay by myself. My electric fence is on, which means that everything irritates me, all right? And my kids know it. My wife knows it. You know, I'll go be by myself. I'll come out to my workshop. I'll go in my room and meditate. I'll do whatever I need to, okay? But just acknowledging that I'm grumpy helps a lot, okay? Maybe I don't understand it, and I'll pick a fight with my wife, and we'll have an argument, okay? My wife and I, we go from 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. So we go from normal talking to yelling in 5 seconds, but in 5 minutes, the whole thing is done and over with, okay? No matter what it is. We just kind of look at each other and go, wow, what was that? That just happened that way, okay? So you're going to know that as old karmic issues come up, okay, the old feelings and emotions that you're not dealing with, as they come up, okay, they're going to be expressed out. Some people express them in tears and in sadness. Some people express them in anger and irritation, okay? Whatever your emotion is, just put it in check, okay? If you're depressed, it's not going to last more than 2 or 3 days, okay? It's just you forcing yourself. Your higher self is forcing you to deal with these issues and these feelings. And then when you say, okay, well, it doesn't bother me anymore, okay, that's when it goes away. That's when it stops bothering you, okay? Just the acknowledgement that it's there. I'm depressed. I don't want to be depressed anymore. Okay. Sure, I got depressed because my mom died, okay? I can't help her. She's not going to come back alive right now, okay? So, all right, understand her death. Should I have said goodbye? Yeah. Okay. Did she know that I loved her? Yes. Was I there when she died? No. Why was that? Okay. Those are the questions that I ask myself in order to deal with my own past issues. Okay. And one of them is the abandonment of my mom. Okay. I'm almost 40 years old and it still bothers me. All right. It bothers me even more knowing that she died in a hospital by herself when I had the chance to do something about it. Okay. But she has forgiven me, and I have forgiven myself because I had to experience that. I had to experience that emotion of what it's like to not be there when she does pass. Okay? To know that. So don't be so hard on yourself when you start getting depressed or you start thinking about things that happened to you in the past. They happened for a reason, guys. Okay? And just accepting that they happened. All right? Got it. Thank you. I don't need it. You know, I'll put it off and I'll store it. Okay? From there, we're done. And when the time comes and that emotion comes up again, you've experienced that emotion and you know how to deal with it. Okay? Because you know what caused it and you know what the effect of that was afterwards. All right? So now your brain creates a new pathway. It becomes more efficient. Okay? Instead of going through all of this up and down, you know, questioning yourself and all that kind of stuff, boom. Now it's just a straight line. Okay? And that's where we get more efficient. And you start to realize the little things. Okay? And those little things are your ability to solve problems. Your personal problems of electricity or a capacitor or fresh water, okay, or cleansing of the water, or making a flight machine, okay, or making a protective barrier. There are so many different ways that you can do this. Use it, this energy and this form of reality that we're creating. Okay, these are the tools you need. All you have to do is listen. You got to listen to yourself and follow the instructions that we give. Okay, it isn't about your race. It isn't about your religion. It isn't about any of that. Okay, we're all here to awaken each other up and be each other's battle buddy and say, hey, guess what? The game's over. It's time to go have a beer. Okay? And be friends with everybody else. Because where we come from, there is no division. There is no race. We are all one. And we all fight for that law of one. Okay? Because we love it so much that we allow everybody to be themselves. Okay? It's not being judgmental. Okay? Not everybody's going to want to take this information. That's okay. It isn't for you. You know, it's not going to hurt my feelings. But if you don't understand it, there's no reason to badmouth it. Okay? Just move on. Go continue watching Donald Trump and Clinton and everybody else is going on in the bull crap. All right? Ross has a question, and he says, do our organs, so liver, pancreas, kidneys, etc., start changing their functions? And will this take place with the skin and blood? Yes, all of your organs are going to change to a different function. Okay? It's going to emit a different kind of energy. Okay? One, because the food that you're eating, because you're becoming consciously aware, okay? Because of that, you're going to change the energy that's going in, all right? Because you're aware of it. You know, you say a blessing for your food, you're changing the conditions in which your food was made, okay? You're thanking that animal for eating or that plant for eating, you know, using it to sustain your own life, okay? Don't feel bad about that because they were put here on this planet to sustain our life so that we could have this experience. Okay, that was part of their contract. Okay, all these contracts are being revoked now. Okay, because they've been upheld. As you come into your own awareness, okay, your contracts will be upheld as well. Okay, and as you meet certain guidelines, okay, checkpoints along your way in your life, you will notice that you have a better or clearer understanding of things. All of your organs are reacts, okay? Your liver and your lungs, your heart, each one, you know, they're all their own individual, kind of like a CO2 reactor, where you've got one plate on one side that's a positive polarity and one that's on a negative polarity, okay? And it just continually gives you the infinity back and forth of feeding itself, okay? If you want to visualize your body, okay, and the different functions of your body, okay, if you want a positive or a magnetical energetic field, urinating, defecating, vomiting, okay, anytime any fluid, sweating, okay, is expressed from the body, you're creating a magnetical field, okay, a positive energy field, which allows that liquid to leave your body, okay, or the waste. If you're, you know, throwing up, okay, and that moment when you go from holding everything in your stomach to that retching feeling of it coming up, all right, that's when your body switches polarity, okay? Your stomach as a device, okay, it switches its polarity, which causes it to go from gravitational to magnetical. All right, gravitational means that it's holding everything in. All right, magnetical means that, yeah, you just expressed everything from your stomach out your mouth. Okay, so you've got to, understand and change the visuals in your mind of what a gravitational energy field is and what a magnetical energy field is. And that's why I use the red and the blues, okay, or a positive and a negative, a right turn or a left turn, okay. Are there any other questions? I really got to get off of here. I'm supposed to go do this shopping. Any questions from the Zoom panel and or from YouTube? Was today helpful for you guys? Anything on these videos, or send me a message here. Send me a message in Facebook or put it on my wall. I need to know your level of progress on a spiritual side. I don't need you to tell me about it. I just need to tell you, I just need to hear the feedback of what you understand, and it's really heartwarming to see a lot of you guys out there making these infinity devices, and share them with people. Share your experience on how easy it is to make them. Okay, get as many people as we can to make them. You need 360 of these things, guys. 360 different people. Okay, less than 25 feet of wire, some drain opener, all right, aluminum foil, some tissue paper, okay, or baking paper, and some ash water. And you can do this. And we take back our own planet. And we protect the people and the creatures that are on it. Okay, basically the first 360 are the guardians of the planet. So, who wants to be the guardian of a planet here? I like this planet. Right now I've got 10. But I can only use one in that field. So keep that in mind. I'm glad you guys are able to learn. Okay, show show the appreciation that I desire. Okay, by sharing your work. Okay, post pictures of your infinity devices, whether they're health pens or whatever. Kiki and Crystal from England, Kiki has been making videos with the quad core health pins, okay, and groups and individuals, and showing extremely positive results. And it's so simple that it's there, guys. Okay, you can question it if you want, but I spent the last year researching this because I knew that you weren't going to have time to research it when you woke up. Okay, we're running out of time, and we need all of these made as many as possible. Okay, and we are running out of time. Time will end. All right, and how many of these people do you want to help? You get to be the judge, because whoever you give these devices to, whether it be a health pen or an infinity device, you're saving those people. Think about that. You're all angels when you make these. Okay, you have to believe what you want and how you want to believe it, but we're here. We're not going away. And you can either be part of it and learn to get out of the way of Mother Nature, okay, and be part of Mother Nature, or you can die and lose your physical body. You don't get to keep it, but you'll still be hanging around, okay? And we're not talking ghosts here, all right? We're talking about the energy, and you guys are all part of that, all right? Much love. Peace is here. And like I said, we got some rough stuff to go through first, and once that's done, then we can move forward. All right, that's the end of that roller coaster ride. We still got to go downhill. All right, much love, guys, and please, like I said, leave me messages. Okay, if you want to make a donation so that we can broadcast this even better, and make sure that they're recorded, and we can put these on DVDs and send out supply kits for people to make them themselves, because they have to make them. Please donate, guys. Okay, use my PayPal. Okay, use my email, mjnguardian, GUARDIAN @gmail.com. Okay, every bit of your donations goes to helping people. All right, I don't need the money, as far as I don't need it to pay my bills. Okay, my stuff is taken care of. Okay, but if we want to advance this any further and faster, okay, then I need money. Okay, and if that means that you've got to get in contact with somebody like Elon Musk, okay, or somebody who has a lot of research and development money that won't have the strings attached as big corporate. They're the ones fighting against the system. Okay, send them my way. Okay, we can do this, and we can do it in a very short amount of time, but we got to do it together. All right, I love you guys. Take care. Keep your heads down, smile, and help somebody. Okay, love them. Namaste, all of you. Go ahead and stop recording, guys.